Hello, I'm Pat Jackson, and I would like to welcome you to Cupertino's own television program, Ask the Mayor. I'm hostess for Ask the Mayor, which will appear each first and third Tuesday evenings after Monday night's council meeting. You know, it's hard to get an official in Washington or Sacramento on the phone, but right here in Cupertino, you can pick up your phone, dial 252-4641, and ask Mayor Phil Johnson some questions directly. The issues may be neighborhood issues, they may be issues from City Council meeting of last night. Whatever they are, Mayor Phil Johnson will be here to answer your questions. I'd also like to mention that tonight is a big night for Channel 30, Cupertino's own television station. Stay tuned because Cupertino Insight directly follows this program, and at 8 o'clock, the Cupertino City Council resumes last night's meeting. I would like to mention that Mayor Phil Johnson also gives a summary of the highlights of the Cupertino Council meetings, and I'd like to say welcome and hello, Phil.
Hi, Pat. Also this evening we have a guest. It's Bob Quinlan, our city manager, and Bob will be helping out with some of the questions and contributing from time to time this evening. So welcome, Bob.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Bob. I was wondering if you could give us a short summary, Phil, of last night's council meeting, some of the main issues of the meeting.
Sure. It was a marathon meeting. A lot of the issues were housekeeping matters, but I thought that I chose 4 items that may be of interest to the people. If you watched the last show, I mentioned that there is a proposal by the El Camino Hospital District to develop and build a continuing care facility, and that's tucked behind the 280 area by the St. Joseph Seminary. And the City Council made the decision last night that it would be best to annex it to the city since we feel that it's within our sphere of influence, and that will start the proceedings for that. Probably the most controversial issue, and we had a packed house, was regarding the Kim Street traffic issue. Some 6 months ago, we had put in a temporary closure. We were going to monitor it. We closed off the street from 6 to 9 to try and discourage commuter traffic from going through the neighborhood. It's tough whenever you try to close off streets or deal with neighborhood issues like that. You have people on either side that want to keep it open. There are people that want it closed permanently, and there were some people supporting the status quo. The council decided that we would continue to close it in the morning, not all day, but just in the morning, and that we would enforce it selectively by using the Sheriff's Department. Until that's a permanent decision, so I don't expect it coming up to us again unless it proves to be a problem. Commute traffic did drop remarkably. There was one other issue. This project is located southerly of Richmond Drive, between the intersections of Richmond and Miller Avenue, and Richmond Drive and East Estates Drive. It's on the fringe of the city. The applicant was proposing to build an additional or to enlarge upon some office space, and the council had some problems with it. We had some problems with the traffic that might be caused and some problems with the design of the lot. That will be coming back to us. And then finally, at the last show, we did happen to talk about the annual budget, and we discussed some of the things that go into the budget. We made the final approval, our last public hearing on it, and we had a summary budget that I believe is available at the Treasurer's office.
That's correct.
Since you spent the most time on this, Bob, do you have anything you'd like to add on the budget issue? Or?
Well, the budget this year is the largest budget in the history of Cupertino. It's $21 million for all the funds, and approximately $12.5 million of that goes for operating budget. That's the ongoing, continuing type things, and then about $8.5 million for capital improvements. So we do expect a big year in capital improvements.
Okay, good.
What are the major changes, you would say, Mayor Johnson, in terms of how this year's budget differs from last year's?
Well, this budget, I think Bob would agree, is a status quo budget. It's more or less a maintenance budget. There are no big increases. We have an additional employee or two so that we increase staffing a little, but most of the things are the same. There was one trend that was a little different, in that sales tax is down by about $500,000 this year. We're not concerned yet, we are monitoring it, and we don't think it's going to be a major problem in the future.
Well, that sounds very good. Right now, let's go ahead and take our first caller.
Good.
Hello, caller.
Hello, good evening, Mayor. I have a question about the BMR program in Cupertino. I was happy to know that you decided to keep it, the program for Cupertino. I think it was a good decision. And I'm wondering, I know there's talk of having the units, the for sale price of the units, be based on the median income for Cupertino instead of the Santa Clara Valley, and I'm wondering how that would change the income limits for a prospective buyer.
Thank you for calling.
Well, that's a timely question. The council is going to be considering the below market rate housing. We felt that it would help people easily or more easily qualify for a unit if we based the median income on Cupertino as opposed to the county average. It's something that we're going to be talking about later tonight when the council meets at 8 o'clock, and it's also something that Pat and I thought that we'd spend a little time on after the break in this show. So we'll be discussing it again.
Because that does tend to be a very important issue in this community, and I think Cupertino has been somewhat unique in that respect. So I think that will be of interest to our callers. So don't forget, pick up your phone right now, dial 252-4641, and ask the mayor some of the questions that you may have been wondering about, some concerns in your neighborhood. No concern is too large or too small for the mayor because he's right here to answer some of your questions. One of the things that I've been wondering about, on a little lighter note, Phil, what's happening in the city on the 4th of July?
Well, we got a busy schedule. Once again, the Parks and Rec department's really outdone themselves. They've planned an entire day and evening of activities. The morning starts out with a pancake breakfast. The Deanne's Optimists are hosting that. We've got there's almost too much to mention. We've got the Cupertino Choraleers. We have a model boat exhibition. We have singers. We have dancing, family games, juggling, comedy, face painting. And of course, the highlight of the entire day, we brought fireworks back to the city of Cupertino. So with cooperation from De Anza College, we're going to be presenting a 25-minute fireworks display at De Anza College, and there will be music in the background with that. The De Anza Jazz Singers will be performing at 8:30 and ending at 9:30. And then approximately at 9:30 to about 9:50, we'll be having the fireworks display. If you're curious about any of the specific times for any of the events, I'd advise everybody to refer to their Cupertino scene.
Oh, well, it sounds like a fantastic day and a great way to celebrate the 4th of July.
That'll be a lot of fun.
You know, Memorial Park has just been something special, I think, for the citizens in Cupertino, and I'm really glad to know that that will be one of the facilities that will be used on the 4th of July.
I expect the park and the college to be very crowded. So.
Are you planning to get your face painted? That's the really big question.
I will if you will.
It's a deal.
I will. Bob Quinlan will.
Oh, perfect. I would like to encourage all the citizens of Cupertino to pick up your phone, dial 252-4641, and ask the mayor about some of the issues that are happening in your city. Some of the things that may be coming on the city council meeting tonight. Remember, it was continued from last night to this night. That's how big the agenda was. So don't forget, call 252-4641 and ask your Mayor Phil Johnson some of these very questions. One of the questions that I've been wondering about, Phil, is when will we get Highway 85, and what will it be when we get it?
Oh, good question. Highway 85 is something that we have needed for many years. In fact, it's been on many of the plans for 20 years. Much of the community and the density and development was predicated on the fact that we were going to have a major highway as 85 go through. To be honest, it really didn't look too good until we had the half-cent sales tax measure that was on the ballot last November. That has really, I think, made 85 a reality. It's still not going to be a short process. We're probably looking at the end of the decade before the entire highway goes through. But I think that within the next several years, we'll be starting on the Cupertino portion. And at the beginning of this next calendar year, the public hearings will be underway trying to determine exactly what alternative is best for the area, what we're going to choose, and we'll be going out and taking input from the community. Another thing that we'll be starting shortly will be the environmental impact report on the corridor. You have anything to add to that, Bob? Or?
No, I think that's correct. It is tentatively scheduled now for the section in Cupertino to be the first section, so that will certainly relieve residential streets on the west side of our community.
It was gratifying to see that it was passed by a nice majority in the county overall. I think everybody here realizes, I mean, it's just not 85. It was also intended to help expand the Highway 101 and also Highway 237. So the people are feeling that commute traffic pressure, and they want to do something about it.
They certainly are, and I think a good case in point, obviously, is the feeling that people had on the Kim Street issue, because commuter traffic, that's right, commuter traffic really involves people every day in their lives, and I think that's the kind of thing we're talking about, the issues that are everyday issues.
One of the primary goals that we have, and it's even in the general plan, and that's to remove commuter traffic from neighborhood streets. The commuter is one of the smartest animals alive, and they'll constantly seek the easiest shortcut, even if it involves going through a private neighborhood. So it's a very high priority for us to get that out of the neighborhood onto the main streets. So.
Yeah, I'm glad that that's one of the issues we were able to address this evening. Now, I'd like for you to remember, as the important people in Cupertino, the citizens of Cupertino, that you can pick up your phone, dial 252-4641, and ask your mayor those questions that you've been wondering about. Something in your neighborhood that's been bothering you, something you'd like to ask him, please go right to your phone, dial 252-4641. Right now, we're going to go to a short break. Phil, one of the areas of interest in Cupertino has been the below market rate housing. I think Cupertino may in fact be unique in this respect. I'm not sure. But I've had many questions about what is below market rate housing and how does it fit in Cupertino?
Good. In fact, our first caller really beat us to the punch, because this is something that we did want to discuss during this meeting. And again, I'll mention that we had a public hearing last night to discuss the below market rate program. We have decided to retain some sort of below market rate program. We don't know exactly what. We'll be discussing that tonight at 8 o'clock. If there's anybody that has an interest or would like to make some input, I'd urge them to come down this evening. But currently, we have stated in the general plan, which we have here, that the city of Cupertino shall require that there's a mix of housing, and that we should also provide a certain amount of units that are below the market rate, to allow people that otherwise wouldn't afford to be able to move into the community to purchase that first home. And we have said that in those developments where we have 10 units or homes greater than 10, that there shall be 10% of those provided for below market rate housing. Now tonight, we have a staff report and there's a proposal, and the draft proposal addresses three major items. It addresses a revision of the program itself. It talks to the participation of non-residential developers, how they would participate, and it talks about, for the first time, a creation of a non-profit housing corporation, where we would be putting funds into that, possibly to build something like senior citizens housing. It's a key issue. It's not just BMR or below market rates, just not limited to the city of Cupertino. It's something that is a widespread program. Currently, we've constructed about 27 units in the city. It's not a lot, but it's one way that we can make an effort to try and provide more of a mix throughout the community.
Well, I think it's a strong effort on a part of a city that says we understand that housing is a problem, and certainly affordable housing is a problem. So it's Cupertino's effort to do something in that direction. Right now, I'd like to take a call from one of our callers. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a question for you.
Could you speak up a little?
Yes. I wondered if you could elaborate a little bit on how our traffic interconnect system works. It seems sometimes we wait a long time at some of the lights.
Well, thank you for calling.
Okay, that's a good question, especially since we spent a lot of money on the system. The city spent, or invested really, is probably a better word to use, about $800,000 in the interconnect system. And right now we have about 30 intersections connected and controlled by a computer that runs downstairs at City Hall. The whole intent is to get the traffic off of the neighborhood streets, and the whole thing works on volume or on demand. So there will be times if you're trying to make a left turn across Stevens Creek or across Deanza Boulevard where you're going to be frustrated. Well, we've done that on purpose to allow the traffic to get through the major arteries in the city. However, if you're consistently noticing delays of 2 or more lights, what you ought to do is call into City Hall and ask for Glenn Griggs, and he can investigate the problem. The nice thing about the system is that we have immediate feedback on any intersection that's on the system, and we can tell immediately what the volume of traffic is and if we do have a problem.
Well, that's helpful for callers to know that there is some place that you can call, and I'm sure Glenn would be glad to help and find out exactly what's happening if there's a problem. Right now, let's take another call. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Pat.
Yes. Hello, Ola. How are you?
You recognize my voice.
Yes. It's nice to have you
look
call.
as beautiful as ever on TV. My question is a problem on my street, and I've heard others talk about on their streets. The beautiful liquid amber trees, surface roots are pushing the sidewalk up as high as 6 inches. Is this a problem for Public Works? Or could somebody come and examine how this can be not a hazard any longer and not kill the tree, or is that possible?
Well, thank you for calling, Iola.
Okay, that's a good question. In fact, talk about trees in general, not just the amber trees, but we do have a program where Bob, are we spending about $80,000 this year to go out and repair sidewalks that have been pushed up by tree roots?
Yes, we do a couple things. One, we cut the roots, and secondly, we are starting a new program this year where we actually shave the walks.
And that's using
costs.
a new-fangled
Yes.
machine, right?
Yes, but the liquid amber trees are a particular problem because of the root growth, and we have an approved street tree list. I don't recall whether that tree's been actually taken off the list or not, but we're sure discouraging the use of that tree or the planting of that tree in terraces because of that very problem. And
The other end of the line, ready to answer your questions. So don't hesitate. Call now, 252-4641, and talk to Phil Johnson directly. One of the other areas that I think that citizens have been wondering about, I've heard several of them ask the question, Phil, how can I get more involved in my city? Could you give them some ideas on what they could do? For instance, what does a commission do? I know that's one of the areas you can get involved, but what does a commission really do?
Well, we have quite a variety of commissions. They all put in a lot of time, extra hours, and it's all on a volunteer basis. One of the busier commissions is the Library Commission. We have the Planning Commission, which is more than just an advisory body. They actually do review planning applications and approve or deny them for a recommendation to the City Council. We have Parks and Recreation Commission, Public Safety, we have Energy, and we constantly have openings on these. In fact, there's going to be more openings in September, and I would recommend that if you have an interest in helping out and being a volunteer, if you have interest in these different areas, to contact the city clerk, and she can tell you the openings that we have at any given point in time. Now, short of that, you can become just a volunteer at the library or attend city council meetings. So, in fact, every citizen ought to at least attend one city council meeting every year.
Yes,
Or at least call this program once, and
That's
we'll let
right.
you off the hook. You won't have to attend a city council meeting. So.
if you'll just call the program at 252-4641. Right now, we'd like to take another call. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, I would like to ask Mayor Johnson if the city of Cupertino is doing anything to prevent chemical leaks.
That's certainly a good question, isn't it, Phil?
Another hot question.
That's right.
Timely question. The whole area of chemical waste or toxic spills has been something that's concerned the county and the whole state. In fact, we did have a couple in our own city limits over in the Tandem computer site area previously occupied by Forfays. The city monitors on a constant basis, and we also do it under, we monitor under state guidelines. And in the particular instance where there has been a spill at the tandem site, the State Board has been investigating different alternatives as to which is the best way to clean up the spill. And it's nothing that I would term or call serious to our water tables. From what I understand, it has penetrated the soil, but nowhere near the water tables. I think in that area the wells, or at least the water tables, are down to 400 feet. So we have a lot of safety. But it's something that we're concerned about. We also have a double containment ordinance that we've adopted. Bob, do you have anything to add in that area?
Well, yes, in addition to the ordinance, as you know, we had a county-wide effort, and many cities who have hazards or have risks in that area did adopt ordinances, and the fire agencies as well as the water district are involved in our case. The Central Fire District really inspects above ground storage, and the water district monitors the below ground storage from standpoint of any possible leak and contamination.
It's an issue that's received a lot of attention in the headlines. It's an important one, and I think it was a good question.
Yes, I think it was, because that's something that we see in the papers that's an everyday issue for people. And I'm glad that the caller called. Thank you for calling in. Right now, I think in summary, Phil, how would you say that the issues on tonight's agenda will be and in our meeting, in our program tonight?
Well, I don't know. I think we'll spend probably another hour and a half, 2 hours. The only item that we're going to be talking about tonight is below market rate housing. We had a marathon meeting last night. It went to 1 o'clock. I think we covered everything we possibly could.
You didn't have too many people left at that point, I'm
no,
sure.
we wore everybody out. In fact, I hate to see a meeting go that long, because you do tend to wear people out, and they'll fall asleep on the sofa. But
Someone did that.
Right. But I anticipate a lively discussion, and a very important one. So if you're interested in below market rate housing and the subject of housing in general, come on down. We'll be meeting at 8 o'clock. And then immediately after the show tonight, hang in there, because we're going to be showing Cupertino Insight. So you can just follow right to Cupertino Insight and right into the City Council meeting. So.
Well, as you can see from what Mayor Johnson has told us, this is going to be a big night for Channel 30. As you mentioned, Cupertino Insight follows this program directly, and after that we have the City Council, which will resume its meeting at 8 o'clock. One of the big issues, of course, BMR housing, because that's an issue here in Cupertino. So don't forget, next week we will be coming back, next July 16th, in 2 weeks we'll be coming back to you, and we would like for you to tune in and call Ask the Mayor. Ask him any question that you may think is of importance to you, be it a neighborhood question or any other kind of question. So, see you again July 16th. Bye now.
Goodbye. Thank you.